Welcome back to Moose on the Loose. My name's David. Today's episode is an absolute sizzler. We've got Christy Freeland teaching us about housing and Stephen Guilbeault teaching us how to control the climate, as well as a few other clips. Let's jump into this. First off, we've got Christy Freeland realizing Justin Trudeau's diapers do smell. In this video, she's in Victoria at a affordable housing. Yeah. We're going to see here how affordable it really is. With some announcements, a bunch of nonsense. I knew I could feel her dark energy around here. Something was weird. Birds were falling out of the sky. Trees were dying.
It's been really exciting for me to see our government's plan in action and to see the incredible work that's been done here at Hudson House.
Okay, so first off, this has got to be the ugliest 80s... Why is there all this gold brass? This looks like cheesy Vegas, like golden cobras. And
Inflation in Canada fell to 2.9% in January. That's down from 3.4% the month before, and down from its peak of 8.1%.
Just note, 0.6% of that, basically 3% inflation, comes from the carbon tax, and the carbon tax is going up April 1st. You can thank the Liberals for that.
Thanks to the hard work of Canadians and Canadian businesses, Canada added 41,000 jobs in February. That was more than double market expectations.
Of those 41,000 jobs, a lot of them are government jobs. They're low-paying jobs, and a lot of very high-paying jobs are leaving Canada. They seem to skip out on those facts.
Real GDP grew 1.1% last year. That's more than triple what was forecast, and it means last year we avoided the recession that many had thought was inevitable.
The GDP is propped up by two things: the oil industry in Alberta, you know, the province that Trudeau wants to have nothing to do with, and immigration. You can bring in a ton more people propping up that GDP, but it's going to absolutely devastate everything else: the doctors, housing situation, you name it.
Private sector economists are now predicting that Canada will have a soft landing from all of the incredible and wrenching turbulence of COVID and what followed. And last Friday, DBRS reaffirmed Canada's AAA credit rating.
Thank God. Thank God. Woo-hoo-hoo, I was worried about that one.
With a stable outlook. That is a powerful proof point of our government's fiscally responsible approach.
You guys are fiscally the worst people on earth.
All of this is progress, but we all know
jail is
that
progress.
So many Canadians, so many people here in BC are still struggling to make ends meet. They're struggling to juggle their bills at the end of the month.
That's because of
They're struggling to find a nice, affordable place to rent or to buy that first home. And they're struggling to feel confident about their future.
That's because you guys bring in 5,000 new people every single day. 5,000 people come to Canada. Imagine 5,000 people landing in either Toronto or Vancouver. The plane comes down and those people start scurrying everywhere looking for homes. That's literally the number. That's what these bonehead idiots are doing to our country. I got nothing against all the immigrants come in. It's just we're in a bad situation here. We don't have the houses for you guys. That's the problem. You guys have to help us vote these fools out.
That's why we know that we have a lot more work to do to help unlock a brighter future for everyone in our amazing country, in this beautiful province.
Yes, that starts with electing Pierre Poilievre.
And that's why our government is working every single day to build more homes faster and to make life more affordable for Canadians and their families. And that's where Hudson House comes in.
Oh, there it is.
There
Hudson
are
House.
245 rental homes at Hudson House, and 227 of these homes are for people with low and middle incomes.
Oh, fantastic. Let's look at those numbers while we're at it. Here we are, Hudson House. Well, we've got some very affordable houses. Very, very. Look at this. We've got a studio, 480 square feet. Wow, that's so amazing. $1,800. So affordable. Unbelievable. Oh, geez. Look at these. 2-bed, 2-bath, 3,300. It's like 3,500. Oh, you got a studio, 1-bath, 1,680. Just so affordable. When I moved out to Vancouver Island 7 years ago, you could buy a place in Victoria, 2-bed, 2-bath for, what was it? It was like $220,000. $220,000. And the rental prices back then, because I remember looking at both those situations when I was going through my divorce. Rental for a 2-bed, 2-bath was like $1,400 a month. I think we've gone up slightly since $1,400 a month here, guys.
People are living here right now. Hudson House is a great place to live with thoughtfully designed apartments. I really enjoyed looking through a couple of them.
Was she selling the houses
great
now?
Amenities for residents. We are in the kind of kitchen living room. And their families to enjoy, including a clubhouse, a gym, and a picnic area.
Tell us about the amenities.
It's a wonderful example of what great purpose-built rental looks like.
What is she getting ready for her next career when she's thrown out of office?
I'm looking forward to seeing Premier Eby later this afternoon, and I'm sure we're going to be talking about how we can work together to build more homes faster and to make housing more affordable for people here in BC.
It's called Stop Immigration and Stop Corporate Home Ownership and Foreign Home Ownership. You guys know this. You guys know, they know what they're doing. They're intentionally trying to make this situation happen. How many houses do you own, Freeland? That's what I know. How many houses? If you own 20 houses, then you got stinking rich by doing this to us.
I really believe the federal government is there to support the people of Canada, whether it's healthcare, whether it's families and early learning and childcare, whether it is housing, and to support the people of BC. And I look forward to talking about all that with Premier Eby this afternoon.
Question regarding the budget, and one of the big points of contention.
Look at her face. She's like, oh no, not the budget. Don't give me a question about the numbers. I don't know anything about that.
That Premier Eby has brought up in the past was the
Look at her face.
Sort of the differing support for different parts of the province when it comes to heat pumps, for example. Will BC receive the type of financial support that, for example, Atlantic Canada received? Can you sort of comment on that aspect?
Okay, long-winded question guy here is asking if BC's going to get a carbon tax carve-out.
What, if any, additional goodies might you be able to sort of hint here?
She likes that word. Ooh, goodies. Is that money?
Okay, well, thank you for the question. And I haven't had my meeting with Premier Eby yet. What I can say is what's at the top of the federal government's agenda when it comes to this budget is housing, housing, housing. I think that is the center of the concerns of so many Canadians. And I would say particularly working hard to unlock the promise of Canada for the younger generation, to be sure that for young Canadians, it is possible to have a good life, maybe to live in a nice apartment like this one.
One day, kids, you can pay $1,800 to live in a tiny box with the golden cobras. Come on.
But also, if you want to have your own home, that Canada is a place, that BC is a place where if you have a good job, if you work hard, that is achievable as well.
Later on here, she gives us another dose of reality.
I think it is also really important for us to be always thinking about ways to make life affordable for
really?
Canadians. I think housing is a central part of affordability.
Is it?
And my greatest preoccupation when I take those two issues together is young Canadians. I really want to be sure that kind of rising generation lives in a country where they believe they can have a great place to live, and if they want to buy a house, that they can. So I look forward to talking about that with the Premier.
Yeah, the young population's all moving to other countries. They're going to move everywhere else. They're not going to live here because you guys have destroyed this country. So next up, we've got Captain Climate Change here, and he really teaches us how we can control the weather.
Again, it is built into the federal system that the proceeds of pollution pricing are returned, dollar for dollar, to the province or territory where they are collected. And today, I'm happy to announce that the Government of Canada is making good on its commitment to return over $20 million of carbon pricing proceeds to New Brunswick through the Future Electricity Fund, which supports clean energy projects, energy-efficient technologies, and other initiatives that will help Canada meet its climate goals and achieve carbon neutrality by 2050, while supporting Canadians with affordability issues.
This doesn't make any sense, man. Why would you take money and give it back? What is the point of that then? What is the point? The difference is we could put it in our bank account and get a little bit of interest on that money. We are not stupid, dude. We are not stupid. The next clip here is very telling. It says a lot without saying that much.
Carbon pollution pricing has emerged as an essential tool for Canada to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and promote low-carbon economic growth.
Yet you guys don't measure that. You get to say the carbon tax, it produces a lot of purple dinosaurs that that builds roads. You're not measuring anything, thus you're just lying. Like, you have no data to say that fact. This is so dumb.
In fact, carbon pricing is estimated to account for about 30% of emission reduction that Canada needs to reach by 2030.
You can take your own climate initiatives in 2030 and go to Ukraine with them. Bring the whole Liberal Party. Just get out of Canada. We've had enough of you guys.
The very purpose of carbon pricing is to incentivize new behaviors, either by businesses or individuals and citizens.
New behaviors, everyone. So bust out those snowshoes and those cross-country skis to get to work, because we're not supposed to be driving anymore. Is this man serious? That's basically what he just said. New behaviors. Tell that to the truckers who bring the food around. Or what, are we supposed to die? We're not supposed to eat? Is that what, This is unbelievable. This man is getting paid $300,000 of our hard-earned tax dollars. It's just absolutely disgraceful. That is deplorable that this man even gets $1.
And what we discovered is that for many homeowners, especially in Atlantic Canada, but not just in Atlantic Canada, being able to make the transition from home heating oil to something else was difficult to do, because many of those homeowners tend to be low to moderate income. So they don't have the money to pay the upfront cost of making the transition. So it will enable us to help tens of thousands of people make the transition, and then carbon pricing will come back.
So Premier Higgs says Irene's oil strategic review and possible sale of the refinery is due in part to your climate policies. What would you have to say to that?
I can't really comment. I'm not an expert on oil markets. What I will say, there was a report that came out today, or maybe it was at the end of last week, that said that in order to ensure the future of the refinery, it needs to invest in decarbonization, which is exactly what our government is doing through a number of different initiatives.
Is this guy real? It's like, that's your job, man. It's to know what the different sectors are and how they affect the environment. That is your job. You should know that like the back of your hand. You should know exactly what all of the emissions are of the oil industry, of the logging industry, of the mining industry, all of those industries. What does this guy do? Play Sudoku all day? Guilbeault is just drunk on his own farts here. Like, this is just... I got a clip from TikTok I want to show you guys. It's a framer, and I just want to point out this here, the jobs created. And here's a real video from a real dude who builds houses in Toronto.
And this is out of Toronto, Greater Toronto area. Many framers without work, many back framers without work. You know, we talked to every other builder, every other guy. You know, the murmurs are getting louder and louder. The work is stopping. No one's pouring foundations. No one's buying houses. Because who's going to buy a $1.5 million house at 5% interest? So yeah, guys, that was me about 6 months ago, you know, fearing for the worst. And unfortunately, at this time, the worst has come to fruition. Right now, there's the biggest work shortage I've ever seen. In this winter alone, there have only been 100 foundations poured in the whole Greater Toronto area for residential houses. That's unheard of. With over 800 crews, guys have been sitting home for weeks on end. I personally know of 3 guys that are going broke, and one is about to get his house foreclosed on. Oh, they're thinking of moving to Australia, going to America, like running away from the debt. Right? And who can blame them? Who can blame them? From an hourly worker's perspective, there is currently one job in the whole GTA that is hiring for framers. It's been going like that for the past 2 months, off and on. 2 or 3 guys hire during the week. It used to be 2 or 3 guys are hiring every hour. No word of a lie, at the peak of this 5-6 years ago, there were 30 new ads every day. 30 new guys hiring every single day.
So this video was just filmed a couple days ago, the update section. So, I mean, this is what's happening here and now from a framer, a guy who's working in this trade every day. Next up, we've got a clip here of some police horses showing up to Pierre Poilievre's Axe the Tax rally. I mean, at what point are we going to stop using horses? This clearly can't be fun for a horse to be clanking in among cars and having, going on the roads and stuff. More importantly, where were these horses at the Palestinian protests in Parliament there? There's no horses there. They only use these to scare native-born Canadians? Like, this is ridiculous, man. Speaking of which, we got this, should a Canadian university be flying a Palestinian flag? I mean, what's going on here? What happened to Canadian pride? I mean, if they're going to put a Palestinian flag up there, why not put up a flag for any other country that's going through hardships? I mean, this has got to stop. We need some Canadian pride. Otherwise, Canadians won't pay taxes anymore. I'm just telling you right now, the only flag that should be flying by itself is the Canadian flag. The Liberals seem to fly any other flag but the Canadian flag. Finally, I got this one sent to me here on X. There's at a concert here, there's an F Trudeau thing started up in the crowd.
The machine 2.0. Fuck yeah.
Justin, it should tell you something that if at every concert now, UFC, all these events that the entire crowd is chanting F Trudeau, come on. That's what I've got for you today. Liberals, once again, being boneheads. They're putting on the face, oh, we need to do more for Canadians. It's like, you guys know exactly what you're doing to Canadians. You know you're increasing the prices. You know you're increasing the demand on things. I was watching a video today that was showing the price of electricity across time in Canada, and it just goes up. And that's because the amount of electricity that's being generated in Canada has been completely flat for a couple decades. So the population has increased, thus increasing the demand. And with this big push for electrified everything, you would think they'd be investing in some big projects, maybe new dams or whatever, to produce a lot more electricity. But where are those announcements? There's that big tidal thing off the side of Newfoundland there that Trudeau canceled. That would have been a perfect example. It just seems everything the Trudeau Liberal government does is to hurt Canadians. It's so painfully obvious. There's so many of those scandal clips, the Arrive scam, all these scandals, all this different stuff. Have they done anything for Canadians except for legalize the green Luigi? So if you're a green Luigi smoker, like, that's the one thing you get from Trudeau, and that was it. They've done literally nothing but harm Canadians and Canadians' living situations. Thanks for watching the end of the video here. I've got some new merch, which is linked up on my YouTube shelf now, so you actually see it. It's much better prices on that stuff. Check it out if you're interested. Stay warm, stay fed. I'll see you guys in the next one.